Mangwana ni mwalelepo fukenjani Ekpaswanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show that remains your portal into Africa's most potent stories. Today is Monday, the 27th of July, and we're going to be looking at some of these stories today. South African court temporarily stops Farmgate impeachment inquiry. Tanzanian lecturer faces terrorism charge after protest arrest. Gabon opposition figure remains in jail as lawyers challenge detention. In Namibia, President Nandi-Ndaitwah calls for unity through cultural diversity. Staying with the land of the brave, EFN Journalism Awards honor Network Media Hub journalists for sports as well as for investigative reporting. DStv 285, GOtv 25, 1up2.com, Network Media Hub, and ntvafrika.my.na. That is where you can watch the show. Keep in mind, on NTV Africa, the Africa is spelled with a K. My name is Ashwin Mbedi. We will also be joined by Mr. Mike Sichula as he delivers the Zambia report after the top stories, which will be after the break.
Namibia is a land of movement, with waves that never stop reaching forward. Here, adventure is not something we search for. It is something we are born into. In every corner of this country, creativity rises. From artists, from athletes, from dreamers. And when the world comes to explore Namibia, they discover something extraordinary. Because when sport moves people, creativity moves ideas, and tourism moves the world toward us. Something powerful happens. A platform where movement meets imagination, where industries connect, where opportunity grows, where Namibia's next chapter begins. Welcome to the Creative Sport Tourism Expo. Exhibit, partner, experience. Creative Sport Tourism.
Let's get into the top stories on Africa Good Morning. A South African court has ruled in favor of President Cyril Ramaphosa's bid to temporarily halt a parliamentary inquiry into whether he should be impeached over the Farmgate scandal. In 2022, an independent panel said Ramaphosa might have a case to answer after burglars stole huge sums of cash hidden inside a sofa at his private farm. The president denied any wrongdoing. MPs voted against establishing an impeachment inquiry at the time, but in May the Constitutional Court ruled Parliament had acted unlawfully by shelving the panel's report. Ramaphosa is separately challenging the panel's finding in a court case due to be heard in September. On Friday, Western Cape High Court Judge Andre Legrange ordered that the parliamentary committee halt its hearings pending the outcome of Ramaphosa's review application. 3 judges heard the matter, with 2 ruling in his favor, meaning impeachment proceedings cannot continue until that case is finalized. The robbery occurred in 2020 at Ramaphosa's Palapala farm in Limpopo, where at least $500,000 bills were hidden in a sofa that was stolen. $500,000 was stolen from a sofa where it was hidden. Ramaphosa said the money came from the sale of buffaloes. A Tanzanian university lecturer arrested earlier this month over allegations of inciting anti-government protests has now been charged with terrorism. Melkisedek Kaijage, who teaches political science and public administration at the University of Dodoma, appeared before magistrates' court seeking bail after spending 15 days in police custody when prosecutors changed the charges. He was among more than 130 people arrested over planned demonstrations calling for democratic reforms and justice for those killed in a post-poll crackdown last year. The protests, scheduled for 7 July, were banned and never took place. Kaijage was arrested a day after the planned demonstrations and was initially charged with inciting people to join them. Prosecutors now accuse him of threatening to burn public buildings as part of intimidation tactics. His terrorism case can only be heard by a higher court, and terrorism offenses are generally not eligible for bail, meaning he remains in custody. Gerald Shija of Udomasa confirmed Kaijage had been transferred to Isanga prison in Dodoma. His case comes amid a broader crackdown on opposition figures such as Tundu Lissu, who is also in jail for treason awaiting trial. All activists are critical of President Samia Suluhu Hassan. Gabon's opposition leader, who was part of the ousted government, Alain Claude Bilie, has remained in jail for more than 3 months after the government revived an 18-year-old private financial dispute as pretext to sideline him, according to his lawyers. Nze served as prime minister before Brice Oligui Nguema took power in the 2023 coup and later unsuccessfully challenged him in last year's presidential election. His party, Together for Gabon, reported his imprisonment on Facebook. His lawyer said he has spent 100 days in political and arbitrary solitary confinement after being arrested on 15 April. They said the arrest stems from a private dispute involving about 7,600 euros dating back to 2008. Now, while his party said he faces fraud and breach of trust accusations linked to that matter, according to his lawyers, Nze is being held in a 5-square-meter cell without light at a prison in Libreville. They also said they have not been allowed to inspect the case files and that the investigating judge said those documents were no longer available. Gabon's Justice Ministry did not respond to a request for comment. Now we swing over to Namibia, where there is positive news. President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah has urged Namibians to embrace the country's diverse cultures as a source of unity and national development, saying cultural differences should never be used to divide the nation or stand in the way of its progress. Speaking at the annual Masubia Cultural Festival in Bukalo, the president said the festival plays an important role in preserving the heritage of the Masubia people by ensuring that traditions, stories, and indigenous knowledge are passed from one generation to the next. She said such cultural gatherings help protect customs and values that form part of the country's rich heritage while strengthening national identity. Here is the President of the Republic of Namibia, Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah.
The Masubia Cultural Festival is crucial for both the Masubia communities and, more important, the Namibian society. Reconnecting people with their roots, showing rich traditions, and promoting mutual respect among diverse groups. As the saying goes, a nation without culture is not a nation. Against that background, our diverse cultures must be a source of our national identity, strength and inspiration, and at no point should they be used to divide us or to hinder our development. As a nation, our well-being, our existence lies in our unity that our culture is calling for. There must be a culture.
And now, journalists Mariud Ngula and Nikano Nangolo of Network Media Hub Publications, Namibian Sun, Republican, Algamana Zeitung, and Network Sports Hub were named joint winners of the MTC-sponsored Sport Journalist of the Year Award at this year's Editors Forum of Namibia Annual Journalism Awards held at the Hilton Hotel in Windhoek on Friday. Their colleague Sonia Smith also brought home top honors, winning the B2 Gold-sponsored Extractive Industries and Energy Journalism Award for her story Deals, Dollars and Dirty Oil, unpacking Namco's corruption saga. The ceremony recognized excellence across a further 8 journalism categories, with awards sponsored by Kadila Momo legal practitioners, Old Mutual, the Bank of Namibia, and the Communications Regulatory Authority of Namibia. FNB Namibia, a long-standing partner of the Editors Forum of Namibia, served as the event's main sponsor, contributing $250,000 Namibian towards the awards. Now, Deputy Minister of Information and Communication Technology, Wenzao Kavaka, highlighted that editorial independence, financial sustainability, and editorial diversity must coexist. Here is the Deputy Minister.
Democracy are not sustained by election alone. They require informed citizens who have access to verified information, diverse perspective, and fearless reporting. Journalism shines a light where others prefer darkness. It exposes wrongdoing, scrutinizes those in authority, and gives voice to community that might otherwise be overlooked. Today, however, one of the greatest challenges facing journalism is not censorship alone. It is economic fragility. Across the world, traditional business models are under enormous pressure. Advertising revenue has shifted to global digital platforms, while the cost of producing credible journalism continue to rise. If independent journalism becomes unsustainable, the space it leaves behind will quickly be occupied by misinformation, disinformation, and content that value clicks over truth. This reality demands innovation. The future belongs to the media, organizations that embrace digital transformation while remaining anchored in the timeless principle of accuracy, fairness, and integrity.
All right, those have been our top stories on Africa Good Morning. Shortly, we will be joined by Mr. Mike Sichula as he delivers the Zambia report right after the weather. It's time for Mr. Mike Sichula to join us with the Zambia report. Mike Buriwanji.
Nirebuino Muribwanji, Africa, good morning to our dear viewers.
Africa, good morning indeed. Now, Zambia's general election is on the 13th of August, and it is to our understanding that the ballot papers have arrived or have started to arrive in Lusaka from Dubai.
Wow, thank you very much. Yes, indeed, ballot papers are supposed to start coming into the country from Dubai this week. But initially, they were supposed to arrive in the country by yesterday, the 26th of July 2026. But there was information that was shared by the Electoral Commission of Zambia that the plane that was supposed to bring the first batch of the ballot papers developed a fault, and the plane could not leave Dubai for Lusaka. That is yesterday. So according to the latest schedule, the plane that is going to carry some bunches of of the ballot papers is supposed to arrive in Lusaka on Tuesday this week. So this is the latest information which has been explained by the Electoral Commission of Zambia, and stakeholders who are political parties, church mother bodies have been informed, and some of them have agreed, but because they have got nothing, there's nothing that they can do, so they have just to follow what has been provided by the Electoral Commission of Zambia. The printer Algarai did explain why this change from the 26th to now 28th, when the ballot papers are supposed to arrive into the country. So stakeholders are now waiting for the latest information as to when the first plane is going to leave Dubai. According to what they availed to the nation, it's supposed to leave Dubai 21 hours Zambian time today and arrive in Lusaka the following day, that is on Tuesday. So political campaigns on the other side have intensified, with President Hakainde Hichilema and other opposition political parties canvassing for votes across the country, and Zambians are also voicing out as to who and what type of a leader they want, and what are some of the things that they're expecting to be done for such a person who will be given the mandate to govern Zambia after the 13th of August.
All right, Mike. Now moving on to our next story. Zambia's Kezias Kazuba Mwale has been elected African Telecommunications Union Secretary General. Tell us about this.
Yes, Mr. Mwale was elected during the 7th session of the African Telecommunications Organization that was held in Nigeria from the 23rd to the 25th of July in Abuja. And his election as the Secretary General of the ICT continental body has excited the Zambian government, because they are saying for him to be elected against some of the best candidates from Tunisia and other African nations, they say it shows that the investment that the Zambian government has put in the ICT sector is something that is attracting regional and continental recognition. And they are hoping that Mr. Mwale, with that position that he has, is going to ensure that Zambia benefits from a transfer of knowledge with what other African countries are doing in terms of promoting ICT so that Zambia can also be at par with what other African countries are doing in terms of promoting ICT information and ICT innovations. So it is something that the Zambian community is also excited that Mr. Mwale is going to represent Zambia at the continental level.
Now, Mike, Zambia has suspended fuel negotiations with Dangote refinery. Tell us about this.
Yeah, so this is something that a number of Zambians did not expect, because the background to this story is that the importation of fuel by the Zambian government has been coming at a huge cost, and sometimes because of for instance, the Ukraine and Iran war, the price of fuel on the Zambian market has not been on a stable flow in terms of pricing. So, a number of Zambians were hoping that since there's a refinery in Nigeria, why should the Zambian government not engage the Dangote refinery, so that instead of the wars that are going on in Ukraine, in Iran, Zambia should not have a problem. So they had started engaging Dangote refineries to see how best Zambia can be getting fuel, not very far, but within Africa. But this discussion that the Zambian government has been having with Dangote has not been successful, because according to the Ministry of Energy, they are saying that the pricing model that Dangote refinery is using is not is not different from the global pricing model that they have been using to get fuel from Iran and other countries, because they're saying the pricing is just the same. So if the pricing system that is being used by the Dangote refinery is the same as compared to where they are currently sourcing fuel, then there's actually absolutely no need to push for that for that route of getting fuel from Nigeria. And they have seen that it is not going to make any changes in terms of whether the government is going to save money or not through that process. And that's how the discussions have just flopped. And government has maintained that they will continue sourcing the fuel from the current sources, so that there shouldn't be any unforeseen circumstances that may arise if they engaged Dangote refinery to be supplying fuel into Zambia.
All right, Mike, now in the last of your stories, we are talking about Zambian striker Patson Daka, who has made the move from Leicester City to the Bundesliga.
Yes, as you know, Patson Daka has been struggling at Leicester City, and a number of Zambians were hoping that he may switch to Turkey, but information just filtered through last week that he has signed for Hamburger SV in the German Bundesliga, and he has spent more than a season contract with the German side. And another player that has also made a move from Israel is Kings Kangwa, the picture that was just flashing a while ago. So in terms of Patson Daka to move to the Bundesliga, he becomes the fourth Zambian player to be playing in the Bundesliga. One of the first players that Zambia exported to the Bundesliga, you talk about Christopher Katongo, the 2012 African gold winner in terms of winning the Africa Cup. Then there was also, so in the picture, that is Kings Kangwa. He has moved from the Israeli champions to Greek giants Panathinaikos. So these moves are good for the Chiporoporo, who are preparing for the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations. So this is what has been happening in the world of football in terms of the Chiporoporo boys and some of its key players moving to making switches in terms of their professional football in Europe.
Thank you very much, Mike, for delivering the Zambia report.
Thank you very much. And to our viewers, especially like yourself, who is following the Copper Queens are also in Morocco for the WAFCON, and they'll be taking on Egypt tomorrow. So you can expect to see the likes of Rachel Kundananji, Barbara Banda, as they square off for the position of clinching the WAFCON, as also qualifying for the World Cup. Thank you very much, and Africa, good morning to our dear viewers.
Africa, good morning, and we are definitely behind the Copper Queens, Zambia, Kuchalo. DStv 285, GOtv 25, 1up2.com, Network Media Hub, and ntvafrika.my.na. That is where you can watch Africa Good Morning. Tomorrow, we will be joined by Talent Gore of Zimbabwe as she delivers the Zimbabwe report from Harare. And we will be bringing you the very latest WAFCON results. That's the Women's Africa Cup of Nations. Knowing that the opening game was between hosts Morocco and Kenya, with Morocco managing a 4-0 victory in that one. But we'll be giving you up-to-date updates, and make sure you follow us on Facebook, Africa Good Morning, as well as NTV Africa, spelled with a K. My name is Ashwin Bedi. From me and the team, Sureja Kanaka.